Coming up, I'll reveal 3 soul-crushing causes of self-doubt. And then Microsoft's got a memo for their managers on how to lay everybody off. It leaked, and we're going to go through it. Let's go. Helping you win at work and in life so that you make more money and experience more meaning. This is the Ken Coleman Show. So, over the years of just doing this show, I don't know that there's a topic that I've confronted more than doubt. I like the good old-fashioned word doubt. But now we have a phrase that's been around a very long time as well called imposter syndrome. So however you want to classify what you're feeling when it comes to this issue, you need to know the 3 voices of doubt. There are really 3 primary voices of doubt that get in our head, and we'll talk through how they get there, and then they seep down into our heart, and they just hold us back. And I'm not immune to it. You're not immune to it. The only people that are immune to it are people who just quit on life and just say, I'm done. I'm going to sit on the bleachers of life, or I'm going to sit in the lazy boy of life and just watch everybody else. The biggest season of doubt that I've ever experienced in my life was when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I had 2 mini seasons that led to the one way to look at it is it's a 2-season show on Netflix, right? So season 1 was I was really doubting that I was supposed to stay on the path and move into politics. And that was for a variety of reasons, but largely the distaste that I had in my mouth for it. The disbelief that I was developing that I could make the difference that I wanted to make. So that was kind of externally focused as it related to direction. The internal doubt, season 2, which stayed with me much longer, was once I began to get an idea and get clear on my pivot or the path that I would now move from politics and go into broadcasting, I began to face a lot of doubt because I had a lot of people doubting me. I started having conversations with people in the industry, getting an idea of different pathways, and I was met with doubt in the form of skepticism, very kind, by the way, very polite skepticism. Well, I mean, look, man, you're not 22. And the path that I'm telling you about is kind of built for 22-year-olds. That kind of conversation. And so the voice of doubt that began to grow and grow and grow to the point that there were some days that I absolutely believed that it was the gospel truth. And it was the voice of, you don't have enough time. In other words, you're too old. This is a young man's game. It's a much longer journey than you have time for given your age. That was the voice. It would pop up on a regular basis. And when that voice of doubt stays in our head long enough, just as the voice of fear does, here's what happens. Early on, we kind of wonder if that voice is true, and we maybe come up with some alternate voice. But then the more the voice pops up, and we don't really reason with it, meaning we attack it with some logic, we attack it with some truth, we decide to wrestle with the voice. The longer that keeps happening, and we don't wrestle, we don't reason, then we just kind of give up because it's exhausting. It's the same stinking voice popping up day in, day out. And we get weary. And we go, all right, maybe you're right. And we go from exhaustion to acceptance, and we accept the voice. And so now the voice, which could be completely lying to you, becomes a hard fact. And I had that happen to me. And for about a year, I accepted that voice. And then at one point, I just went, you know what? I remember a time when I didn't believe the voice of doubt, that I didn't believe people who'd say to me, Ken, you're too old to get into broadcasting. I remember a time when I didn't believe that from those people, and I didn't believe my own voice of doubt. And I want to know why I didn't believe it then. And I want to go back and get there. And then I shook myself out of it, and I kept moving forward. Now, I want to walk through 3 voices, in other words, causes of self-doubt. I think they're the big 3, if you will. And here are the voices, and there's a feeling. So those of you that want to take notes, this is huge. Those of you on YouTube, pause it, record it, whatever. I'm telling you, this is going to set a lot of people free. Here we go. Cause or voice of self-doubt. Number 1, the voice is, I am not enough. The feeling that this voice creates, watch this, the emotion that the voice of I am not enough creates is worthlessness. You don't feel that you have any value or not enough value. The second voice of self-doubt is I don't have enough. The emotion, the feeling that this voice generates is hopelessness. I have no hope. I'll never be able to make enough money. I'll never be able to pay off debt to be able to this. I'll never be able to save enough money. It's a hopelessness. I don't see any way forward. And the third cause of self-doubt, the third voice of self-doubt is and says there's not enough opportunity. The feeling, the emotion that this voice creates is helplessness. Different than hopelessness. Helplessness is no one will help me. No one will give me a shot. I don't believe that anybody will believe enough in me to give me a shot. So what is the solution when we understand that these are the voices? I'm not enough, which is worthlessness. I don't have enough, which is hopelessness. There's not enough opportunity out there for me. That is helplessness. We have to get behind the source of the feeling. What is the source of the feeling of worthlessness, that you don't have value? Who said that to you? Who did something to you? What has happened to you where you believe you don't have any value, nothing to offer? If it's I don't have enough, I have no hope. Well, what's making you feel like you can't go get qualified, or you can't save enough money, or you can't do what you need to do to be able to chase what it is you want to do? And if I feel helpless, no one will help me, no one will give me a shot. What's behind that? We've got to root out the voices, the things that have happened to us, things that have been done to us, said to us. We've got to get to the source. And that's where the truth got muddy. And so it's painful to go step back into these causes of the voices, but there is no breakthrough. There's no healing. There's no progress if we don't get to the source of these voices. Because I'm here to tell you, you are worth a whole lot. You do have something that you can do. You can save the money, make the money, get qualified. People will see value in you. People will help you. Why? Because you're valuable.
Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, that's your talent, the work you love to do, that's your passion, and the results that matter to you, your mission. Then you'll feel more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/clarity.
Leaked memo shows how Microsoft is communicating to their managers about the widely reported layoffs. Microsoft plans to lay off 10,000 employees over the next 3 months. And there is a guide that has supposedly been leaked. I don't know if it was leaked on purpose. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. I don't think this is a conspiracy. So I don't know if somebody got a hold of this and a manager just decided to share it, hoping that Microsoft would get some heat, or if somebody high up the food chain said, this is going to make us look very nice. Because listen, Microsoft leaders are paying attention to the headlines. They're seeing all this ridiculous stuff where people are laying people off. We talked about Google the other day, how Google was laying people off in the middle of the night, not even telling them what's going on. Google employees were showing up to offices, and the way they were finding out whether they were laid off or not is if their key fob still worked, for the love of everything that's holy. So, the company, as of the date of this article, which was last week, had notified 1,000 employees. So all 10,000 have not been notified. So this is obviously something they're rolling out. So Microsoft, and I've got it here in my hands. This is a Business Insider article. And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I'm going to call out a few things. What do you think about this? First of all, before I read some of the things, bravo to Microsoft for trying to be thoughtful. I don't know if this is a PR stunt. I don't know that this thing got leaked, but bravo on them for at least trying to act like human beings communicating to other human beings. 4 things you can do, says the memo. This is from the CEO of Microsoft. Show empathy and compassion. That's the first thing of the 4. Second, keep a pulse on team morale and make yourself available to team members. And I'm shortening these lines. Third, be willing and ready to address the topic of workforce impacts verbally as needed. Fourth, explain that well-being resources are available for those employees that need support during and after a job elimination event. Those are the 4 things you can do. And then they went on to say, under messaging, here are some sample statements. Let me acknowledge the anxiety that people may be feeling. Another statement, as a company, we must continually ensure we are aligning the right resources to the right opportunities. That's corporate speak for, hey, we're just doing the best we can to run Microsoft the best way possible. I recognize, another statement, I recognize how hard it can be during periods of change and uncertainty. Another statement, as we look at the next few months, we have so much opportunity in front of us. Our success must be aligned to the world's success, which means every one of us has the opportunity to find new ways of serving our mission, living our values, and helping our customers navigate these challenging times. I'm not going to read the rest of it. Then they do social media guidance for leaders and managers, like be thoughtful what you post on social media. So there you go. Kind of a boilerplate. Okay, what's right? What do I think is right about what Microsoft is doing here? 1, intentionality. 2, not just assume that managers and leaders within the organization are going to act the right way and treat people with dignity. So here's what we are suggesting. Please be mindful. Please do these 4 things. I like the intentionality. Good for them. Good for them. Huge company. 2, another thing they did right. They are focusing on some messaging around the heart of the people that they're laying off in 2 areas that I saw. 1, act with empathy was the encouragement. Let them know that there are some resources that we're providing. We know this is difficult. That kind of messaging. So they are, again, there's intentionality, but then they are focusing on please care for and be empathetic to the people that you have to lay off, and then to the ones that are left behind. The ones that are left behind, hey, they're going to have some anxiety, wondering, are they next? Well, what happened to me in 6 months? This kind of idea. So those are 2 things I see that they've got right. What do they get wrong? for all of the positive suggestions, the suggestion with all the corporate speak about, hey, we're just doing the best we can. We have to adjust to the world. Listen, can I just tell you something, leaders? If you got to lay somebody off, manager, only focus on the person's heart, their anxiety, their worries, their fears, their doubts, benefits that they may be getting as a result of leaving, other resources that you're offering them. Don't try to explain anything other than what they ask you to explain. So if they say, why was I laid off? Answer that question. But don't go into this corporate spin. Why would you do that? They don't care. You just laid them off. They don't care that you're being a good steward of the company. Trust me, they don't care. And not only do they not care, I'm not sure they believe that statement anyway. Listen, I'm going to be empathetic for a moment for somebody that's going through a mass layoff like this. But let me actually illustrate this by reading this again. All right, imagine being someone who's laid off. Big company, global company, wealthy company, very profitable company, Microsoft. Your manager says something like this to you. This is from their memo. Decisions impacting our workforce are especially difficult because they impact people and people's lives, our colleagues and friends. It's important that we continue to support each other during this transition. Leaning into our culture. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Sorry, folks. But that's a decent one there. This is what they were recommending that they understand. Where is that at? Oh, this one right here. Here we go. Okay. As a company, we must continually ensure we are aligning the right resources to the right opportunities. We are living through times of significant change, and we must strive to deliver short-term results while investing in long-term opportunity. Okay, so now imagine that you're sitting there, you've just been laid off, and that's what they're telling you. They're kind of giving you the corporate spin on why we're having to cut 10,000 jobs. Very well written, but it's just corporate spin. They don't care. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm going, okay, so we must strive to deliver short-term results while investing in long-term opportunity. Well, what short-term results as a result of you not thinking about long-term opportunities caused me and 9,999 other people to get laid off? So here's my point, leaders. Spare them that. Be brokenhearted for them. Look at them in the eye, knee to knee. Be very, very clear and concise. This is really bad. This really sucks. Here are some resources we're going to give you. We're going to help you with this. I'll write this for you. It's all about trying to ease their pain. And you can only ease someone's pain when you know where they are experiencing pain. When my kid comes running to him, I'll never forget when my kids were little. You know, they'd be toddlers. They couldn't speak very well. But I mean, it's like, when a toddler gets hurt, it's like an anvil fell out of the sky on their head. And it could be a scrape on their finger. But you don't know that. It scares the ever-living snot out of you as a parent. Kid comes running in. Ah! Ah! And you're like, what happened? What in the world? Did your brother stab you? You're like, and then they show you, and it's like a boo-boo. But in that moment, Nathan's living in this right now. In that moment, Nathan is trying to figure out where the pain is coming from. And when he figures out where the pain is coming from and what caused the pain, only then can Nathan help his child ease their pain. Leaders, when you got to lay people off, just be a dad of a toddler.
Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? You're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. If you need to make a move, you'll even get practical next steps to keep you moving forward. Listen, stuck is a choice, and life is too short not to do what you were created to do. To take the quiz, go to kencoleman.com/quiz.
I've been married 24 and a half years, and I have 3 teenagers. So I tell you all that for you to understand implicitly what I'm about to say. I'm very rarely right about anything. You know, I don't even know what it means to be right in my relationship statuses. I love my wife, and she hears that, she's going to have an issue with me, and I'll once again be wrong. But I've been married a long time, and I got 3 teenagers, so I live in a world that's very confusing. I believe I'm right on just about everything that I talk about professionally and on this show, and then I go home and I feel like I'm always wrong, and it's very confusing. And so when I'm right, which is very rare, I celebrate it. And here's where I'm right. I told you the 4-day work week was coming to America. I told you. I told you it was coming. Now, I did not tell you that I endorse it, so don't read into anything that I'm saying. I'm just going to show you the facts or the reported facts, and I'll give you my opinion on it in a minute. But I didn't say I'm endorsing the 4-day work week. If I went out on the streets of Nashville today with a camera crew and I talked to 100 people on the streets and I said, would you be in favor of a 4-day work week? I promise you right now, 100 people would say yes. This I know. So what's really happening here? And how will it impact you? All right, let's look into this. This is from the LA Times. And the article is saying it is now happening. A 32-hour work week. So this is still based on an 8-hour workday. More on that in a moment. But you get 40 hours of pay. Okay. So it is effectively making Fridays, if we look at a traditional week, for many companies as they're testing this and piloting this, it is effectively making your Friday like a paid holiday. I can just hear the people right now. I feel like it's that scene from Les Mis, you know? Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? You know, it's like people are just like, yes, 4-day work week, woohoo! Everybody calm down. I don't think mass adoption is close. Gun Interactive, which is a video game manufacturer in Kentucky, their chief executive, Wes Keltner, has made the decision to go to a 4-day work week. He said, you have a finite well of creativity in your body. When it's tapped, it's tapped. After that, you do subpar work. I agree with that statement. I absolutely agree with that statement. While few companies have formally adopted the 4-day work week, it is on the menu for some employers as they try to figure out how to deal with the hybrid work schedules that so many employees like. Hybrid work, if you're unfamiliar with this concept, is you're in the office some and you're working remotely the rest of the time. It's very different for companies how they decide to apply that. And you've got a lot of CEOs, presidents, owners of companies, large and small, that want people back in the office for all of the obvious reasons. And this is where I will say I absolutely endorse and am in favor of people being in the office together, working together. I am not anti-remote work. I'm not anti-hybrid. I am for the unbelievable chemistry and juice and collaboration and culture building that being in an office does. Why? Because I will tell you that I believe unequivocally we were made to relate and create. Relate is relationship, create is occupation. And we relate and create better when we're around people. So I do think it is the best option. Here come the hate mails. Ken, why'd you say you hate remote work? Some clown on YouTube went after me because I talked about the fact that I don't think remote work is a silver bullet. I don't think it's great for everybody or every company. And some young YouTuber was like, Ken Coleman thinks that remote work is irrelevant. He's the moron. You know, look, here's my beef. If you want to criticize me, then why don't you play what I said that you disagree with word for word and then criticize that. Game on. Come on, baby. I love being criticized. But at least do me the honor and the dignity of knowing what I said. And then we shall have an exchange of ideas. All right. So this CEO has said this is working for him. Fewer than 20% of U.S. workers come to the office on Fridays these days. Anyway, this is new data. So without officially making the 4-day work week a thing, it kind of is for most workers in America, if you've got less than 20% actually working on a Friday anyway. All right? So that's interesting. All right, now let's just look at the landscape of work and how we got where we are today, because I think it's important. So in the Industrial Revolution, it was commonplace for workers to work 100 hours a week. This is in America. There weren't unions, and it was just like you worked and you worked and you worked, and it was just the way it was. Henry Ford popularized the 8-hour workday in the 1920s. Innovator, and he decides, you know what? We're going to go to an 8-hour workday. Good for you, Henry Ford, right? So everybody likes that idea. Huge change, huge shift. Everybody's in favor. But it took a while until the Great Depression. So Ford comes out with the 8-hour workday in the 20s, but it doesn't become the norm until the Great Depression. And since then, we've been going at this clip for 80 years now where it's kind of the norm. Now, there was a bill in California, and this is why I don't think this is going to be mass adopted. So everybody put your pitchforks down and get yourself a cup of coffee and a comfortable seat, because I don't think this is happening in mass quickly. Here's why. In California, where everything goes, I mean, those people out in California will pass a bill on just about anything, and it doesn't have to make sense at all. And even in California, it died. California was like, whoa, this is a little too wacky even for us. Why? The California Chamber of Commerce said that the bill would significantly increase labor costs, expose employers to litigation, and impose requirements that would be impossible to comply with. I'm not taking their position. I'm just saying you got California businesses going, this thing is a giant furry hairball, and we don't like it. We need to figure this out. Now, I also should point out that in New Zealand, there's been a very exhaustive study, and it has been implemented, and all the data comes back, not surprisingly, that employees like it. However, I had a guest on this show, a small businesswoman out of California, that said we implemented it for a while, and it ended up causing more stress for our people. So all I'm saying is don't get too excited about all this 4-day work week stuff, because this is not going to be a one-size-fits-all application, number one. I know this for a fact because, again, I had a guest on this show who talked about it. They scrapped it. They go, we like the ideas around it, but it ended up creating a lot of stress for people because they were like working like crazy Monday through Thursday and feeling all this pressure to cram a bunch of work into 4 days, and they find that their mind was on work when they had the extra day off. Just giving you one example. So the idea here is it's less to me about adopt a 4-day work week. Let us work remote anywhere all the time, or hybrid's the way to go. I think it's less about that. I think the leaders and businesses that will really tap into this unrest around where I work and how I work, the ones that will win this one are the ones that understand what is the desire underneath it all. And I'm going to talk more about this on the show, but I'm going to give it to you right now and let you stew on it. It's autonomy. People want liberty and freedom to vote how they want to vote, love how they want to love, believe what they want to believe, and don't forget work how they want to work. It's autonomy.
Did you know that recruiters take an average of 6 seconds to scan a resume? And that's if they ever see it in the first place. In fact, 75% of resumes are rejected before reaching a hiring manager. Listen, folks, if you want to get hired, you've got to make your resume worth noticing. That's why we created How to Write the Perfect Resume. This free guide will walk you through the 5 steps to stand out in the hiring process to get you your dream job. If you want to get started, go to kencoleman.com/resume.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Thank you so much for being a part of this audience, this growing audience. It's time to coach some people up. Let's go to Billings, Montana. Yvonne is on the line. Yvonne, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
Nice to talk to you. Hi there.
Well, it's good to talk to you.
Thank you. I read Paycheck to Purpose. It was very helpful, so thank you for that.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yes, and so I am wondering, I'd love your advice for trying to get what I need from my new boss, and also, if possible, your thought on whether it's reasonable for me to give my current job more time, given that sort of difficulty getting what I need from my boss.
Yeah. I think let me tackle the second question. Yeah, you need to give it more time.
Okay.
Because what we've got to figure out is this challenge of not getting enough information, what you need to do the job, is it because your boss is incompetent? Is it because your boss is clueless? You know, we got to figure that out, because if they're clueless, then that gives me some encouragement that we can sit with your boss and go, hey, here's what I need from you and here's why I need it. And they're going to go, yeah, I had no idea, you know, versus they're just completely incompetent. Or I guess the third option is they just don't give a crap. There is that option. At which point, if it's 2 or 3 incompetent or they don't care, then I think it's time to start looking. So what do you need? What information, how long have you been there, and what information are you lacking?
So I've been there a year last week, and
wow.
Yeah, I know. And I've been kind of like flopping around, you know, getting what I need by just doing, whatever I needed to do to get what I needed. But
what specifically? I want you to be real specific, because I think it's going to allow me to give you advice on how to ask for it. What is it that you're not getting specifically?
So just even policies and procedures I work as a writer in technology. And so, you know, okay, how do we do this procedure? How do we do that procedure? There was no sort of, you know, anything written for me to follow. So if I ask him, or if I ask sometimes for thoughts on how do we do this or this, he'll just refer me to a section of the documentation, you know, that already exists.
So these things really don't exist. It's not like he's got them he doesn't have them in a file cabinet and he's not giving them to you. No. He's been at the company for 15 years and is not used to having people work, you know, with him. I think there was one employee previously for 7 years. When they left, I was hired, and I think they were kind of more coworkers. So I think this role is somewhat new for him. So who else in the building has this information?
Okay, so another thing is I work remotely. So I primarily, the engineering team is in another country, so I, you know, speak to them remotely as well. So who has the information? Really nobody. So he's asking you to do a job, and you're not quite sure how to do it? Is it that simple? Sometimes.
Okay, so let me go back to this, because we have limited time here. So he doesn't. So when you don't know how you should be doing technical writing, you go to him, and then he either knows and tells you in the moment, or he goes, well, go look at this manual, and that'll kind of give you a basic guideline.
Yeah, so the technical writing, you know, so the general job skills I know, I worked previously, so in this field, so I know it. It's just every procedure, every policy is specific to the company you're working for. So it's that sort of thing. It's like, okay, what are our writing standards here for the documentation? What is the process to do this or that very specific thing? And he's just incredibly non-communicative, and sometimes I'll literally ask really specific questions, and I'll be proactive and say, "Can we meet about this or this?"
And
or
he
that?
just kicks the can down the road.
Yeah. And
all right. So here's the
like
deal.
One-word responses.
Yeah. So I don't know what the source is. There's probably he's combo of 2 and 3. Doesn't give a crap, and he's incompetent. And I would start looking. You've been there a year, so you're not going to look like a flake. It's not going to get better. He is not going to change. You've tried. The sign is on the wall. Go find a much better environment where you have a leader who gives you what you need and then helps you develop and grow. It's time to start looking, Yvonne. Bye-bye.
According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. If you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is the time to showcase how you are the best choice for the role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just some intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. Go to kencoleman.com/interview.
All right, folks, welcome back. Time to coach some people up. Let's go north of the border, Vancouver, British Columbia. Mackenzie is on the line. Mackenzie, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Oh, hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm living the dream. What are you doing?
Living the dream. Well,
All right.
That's great to hear. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. What's going on?
I'm having a hard time creating a vision for my new career.
Okay. When you say you're having a
Okay.
hard time creating a vision, are you saying you have no idea, or you have a few ideas that you're having a hard time picking and maybe getting it from distant, blurry to super clear? Is that, or is it all of the above?
I'm all over the map. Like one day I say I'm going to do this, and then the next day I change my mind, and I'm just all over the map, and I can't seem to get any clarity.
No
matter.
I think it's slight bit clarity, but I think it's confidence. I think you're getting some clarity, and then what's happening is you're starting to question. You start to go, well, I've got a decent amount of clarity, but I don't know. So, for instance, you'll see a mountain. Let me use it this way and see if this is right. You'll see a mountain will pop in your mind. That's a vision for a future, professional future. And you see a picture of the mountain and you go, oh, I think that looks beautiful. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then you start going, oh, but good grief, how long will it take to climb that mountain? Or what do I need to climb that mountain? Oh, she's laughing, folks. Do you know what that means? It means I've nailed it. So you actually are having no issue with clarity. You're having an issue with confidence, because what's happening is you're allowing doubt to win the day in your mind instead of going, hey, doubt, shut up for a minute while I go do some more research and learn more about what it might take to actually climb the mountain. Does that sound like what's happening?
In large part,
Okay.
but there's a little bit more to it.
Okay, well then it's not fair for me to try to give you advice if you're not giving me the whole picture. What's the little more to it? What am I missing?
Well, there's one business avenue, and then there's another more fun avenue. I prefer the fun avenue, but I think it's more of a dream than reality.
Oh my gosh. This, folks, is why I'm here. Did you hear her? By the way, there ain't nothing wrong with Mackenzie. Mackenzie's like just about everybody else on the planet. Did you hear what she said? One is fun. but it's more of a dream than a reality. You think it's a unicorn flapping around with stardust coming off of its wings, rainbows everywhere. It's just fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
What needs to be true for that to be a reality? So tell me what this idea is. I want to know what the fun idea is. What is it?
Well, I've always had a passion for music.
Okay, be more specific. What is the dream that seems unrealistic?
Well, I would like to sing.
Great. What is the dream? I'd be more specific. What is the dream that when you think of it, you go, oh gosh, I feel silly. I'm ashamed of it.
I want to be a singer.
Yes, where?
What do you mean, where?
What do you mean? What do you mean, where? You know exactly what I mean. Where do you want to sing? What do you want to sing? Who are we singing to? Don't tell me you don't know what I'm asking. You've got a very clear vision.
Well, yes and no, because then the reality sets in. And
No, I didn't ask for reality. I'm trying to keep you in the dream. Where are you singing? What are you singing? Who are you singing to? Give me the real answer.
Well, I guess because I'm new, I would want to start off slow and...
No, you're
No.
Mackenzie, I ain't quitting on you. Mackenzie, when we dream, we don't dream about slow starts. You ever know anybody to dream? You go, hey, what's this dream you had last night that you're so excited about? And they go to you, they go, well, it was kind of a humble start. It was, Nobody says that. Mackenzie,
Yeah.
what is the crazy, fantastical, silly, unreasonable, impossible dream? Say it now.
Well, I want to be a singer, and I want to be on the radio.
There we go. Gee whiz, 2 minutes to get to that. I want to be a singer whose music is published and people buy it and they come see you sing it, right?
Right.
Now, here's what I'm going to do. All of that effort was to say, all right, let's take this impossible dream and let's move it down right in front of us to where it's not so much the details of the dream. Everybody listen to me. This is huge. What I'm about to say could be life-changing. That's why I'm so fired up. It is not about the impossible details of the dream. It is the heart, the foundation of the dream. It wasn't about Ken Coleman Jr.'s dream at 16 of being the president of the United States. That was a very specific, huge dream. But what was the heart behind the dream, Mackenzie? It was about helping as many people as possible pursue their happiness. I didn't know that at 16. I know it now at 48. Are you understanding why I'm ranting and raving and foaming at the mouth right now?
But I think I have many things that are holding me back, but one of which is really my age as well.
I don't care. You missed the whole thing I just said. It is the heart of the dream, not the details of the dream. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's okay if you say no.
Somewhat.
Okay, here's my point. You want to use your voice to sing, to connect to people. True or false?
Yes.
All right,
True.
That's the heart. That's the heart of the dream. Whether you ever are on the radio or opening up for Jennifer Hudson or Beyonce is irrelevant. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It doesn't. So you're getting hung up and held back largely by the super specific details of the dream. But if I strip out all of that, radio and venues and tours and all that, I strip it all away and I go, why do you want to sing on the radio? Why do you want to sing in front of sold out crowds at Wembley Stadium? If I strip all of that away, the answer is, I've always loved to sing.
Yeah.
And I want to tell stories through singing. I want to use music. That's the heart of the dream. It's not selling out venues. It's not being on the radio. It's using this tool, this voice to sing. So
Yeah.
how old are you, Mackenzie?
I'm 52.
You're 52. So we changed the specifics of the dream. And so, Mackenzie, the dream is no longer, I want to write a song and sing on the radio and do a world tour. The dream is, I want to get paid, even just part-time, to use
my
voice. You got that?
Mm-hmm. I got it.
So maybe you're a music teacher in a school. Maybe you're doing private music lessons. Maybe you start getting paid and you're part of an ensemble cast at your local musical theater. Maybe you start with some group that travels around and you do background vocals. I don't know, but we're going to strip the dream to its bare bones, and that is, what are the ways in Vancouver, British Columbia, that eventually I can make some money or good money using my voice and singing? And if I can't do it full time, can I do it part time? And if I can't do it part time, can I volunteer so that your heart is alive and you're singing? If it's just in your church, that's what's missing. The world needs your voice. You need to share your voice. Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, then. Now we got it, right? So, Mackenzie, my final piece of advice for you is sing. Anywhere, everywhere you can sing. Keep singing until you draw your last breath.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.